Welcome to Game Soup. It's the game design podcast where Fridays in a pot and see what's cooking. I'm Chloe and she's Kayla.
Hey! We were going to do a quick bites or meal deal, maybe. Could we call this segment meal deal? The one we did 2 weeks ago that was based on the horny things, where we're going to mash
we're
words
block
up.
recording now, so...
I don't think that was immediately obvious. Maybe it's I guess the fact that we didn't do our usual preamble.
Yeah, we didn't have 5 minutes of how was your week? How's your week been since we last recorded 5 minutes ago?
That's true. Yeah, no, we didn't have the preamble. That's obvious.
I
say we go straight into the meal deal.
Of fuel, and that's my entire week, I guess.
She's fueled by fuel.
Yeah. So, random words. Let's throw some ideas. Add some ingredients in a pot. My first word is absorb.
I've got killer.
Killer, it's Kirby, the tabletop RPG.
It's gritty detective hunting Kirby. It's serial killer Kirby in some kind of... I guess the Detective Pikachu version of Kirby World. Kirby is the serial killer.
Yeah. I think if you're doing a really far... It's really far too gritty, naughties video game crossover plotline, where it's Luigi and Samus are detectives in a noir city called Nintendo.
Yeah.
And
awful game.
Yeah, absolutely terrible.
Rancid vibe.
6 out of 10 on IGN. And
then you're looking back at it and you're like, God, it's fine for things to be for children.
The only 18 plus game on the GameCube.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some kind of number pun with 7. How Sir7 is spelt that, but Kirby, but I can't think of anything. Do you want to change absorb? Because I think we might have some more mileage of killer.
Yeah, critic.
Killer critic, or critic killer. I've got a very goofy idea away from the obvious thing. Yeah. This is about sort of weird, a wizard, some kind of a cult sorcerer or whatever in the present day, casting spells that summon public domain storybook characters as monsters to their evil schemes, and they can only be defeated by people able to critique their portrayals and tear them apart on the thematic level.
So I've summoned Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
And they can only be defeated by talking about... this game feels like you need a literature degree to play it.
Yeah, it's probably it's a very unfriendly game, I think. Yeah, and so it would then either be... If someone's say, summon something where you're like, oh, this is just so dodgy, I'm going to attack this. Or maybe in Frankenstein's monster, yeah, it's been summoned. And the critic is able to point out the things of well, Frankenstein's monster wouldn't be enlisted by a wizard just for doing simple violence. All of their violence was with clear objectives. This doesn't, this doesn't make sense to who the character is. And that would make the...
Yeah, Mr. Adam, why are you
groaning?
Why do you have little iron things on the side of your neck? Isn't that supposed to be a universal original concept? And that they just exist. They just disappear in a puff of smoke.
Yeah. It's pointing out either contradictions in a way a portrayal is working in the real world, or just, or even then attacking something about a character itself. If you get Sherlock Holmes, you just start talking about weird. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's of not necessarily bad, but is easy to critique for regressive politics or something.
It's just even your author hated writing you,
or start talking about how something became a cash grab or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that works. I will rotate out killer. Oh, that game is called Critiqueal Hits. You spell critique all with a Q. Yeah.
That's disgusting, Kayla. What's our next word?
Figure.
Critic figure.
Oh god, it's a beauty pageant game.
Yeah.
It's like I think this is like a game book that is like mainly a work of satire and is not intended to be played. It's like aggressively stats up like how people look and what advantages this would get in like a really like ugly and disgusting way, just to make a point of criticizing how a beauty pageant works.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to dwell more on this game, but I'm like, I think that's the game.
Your stats are your measurements.
Yeah, it's like really like nasty shit like that.
There we go.
Do you want to swap out Critic now? Because I think Critic is a hard one.
Fucking dead to me. Beauty pageant. Expansion for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Okay, belong.
Figure belong. We know we've got like here. Yeah, I guess we took figure as in shape. I think we've had maybe figure as a word before and took it as in like figurine.
Yeah,
but you could also have it as like figuring out.
Yeah.
So figure and belong. You are a changeling. You're a support group of adult changelings or whatever age changelings.
Yeah.
Who are attempting to find a way back to the fairy world.
Yeah, it's you've assimilated too well, and now you can't figure out how to be a fairy.
Or I think maybe I, yeah, like, something like that.
Maybe like you have like a struggle within you. It's like, oh, do I like want to stay within the human world, or do I just kind of want to return, like understand my fairy roots? I feel like this isn't the game for two white people to write, but
I mean, one thing I was good at, so I actually did think vaguely of some kind of concept of like changeling trying to find fairy world already. And I sort of abandoned it because I realized what I was thinking of this as being about would be like, oh, this is about autism and parental abandonment.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not your doing a changeling, I guess, as an allegory for not figuring in. And I guess this idea of like, oh, is there actually a place where you could have fit in? And I feel like the game in many ways would be about acknowledging that that's just not going to be a real thing. Because if there was some place you came from that you were dropped off, like, well, that place didn't want you.
Yeah.
Like, so that's you're clearly someone who doesn't fit in there either. And I feel like then you could do it as some weird psychedelic thing, and it's just about like fantasy.
This sounds like a good platformer.
Yeah. I feel like I wouldn't necessarily want to make a game about parental abandonment issues.
Yeah, Yeah.
So I feel like I've swapped a new word, and I feel like there's an obvious answer here because we have belong and whole. This is a game about that one Junji Ito comic. It's actually no, it's not even a game. This is just like a bestiary entry about like how, yeah, in a dungeon you can start seeing holes that are perfectly shaped for you, and like you have to do a fucking resistance check or whatever in games where that's a thing to not be compelled to start going to the hole.
I think like throughout the dungeon you start seeing like, oh, there's a hole for a goblin here. We just fought some goblins. Did they come out of that? But it's like further down the dungeon, you find that actually humans have been going into these holes and being turned into goblins, and that's where goblins come from in your world.
Yeah, actually, I guess maybe this is just like a dungeon for, I don't know, like a system neutral OSR dungeon or whatever, inspired
Yeah.
by that Junji Ito story. Could be called like Dungeon Ito.
Can you name another Junji Ito story? Because I cannot.
Um,
Because we can't even seem to name this one.
No, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, he's not a author I've read much of. I know my housemate is very big into a lot of his works, though.
I think he did some art for Magic the Gathering. So
Fascinating.
yeah.
So you've still got holes. Swap out the long.
Sheep.
Hole and sheep.
Hole and sheep. I think you work at the trying to get people to sleep factory, and you have to herd sheep to a big hole that puts them into their forts.
Ooh, you are, or maybe you just are dream sheep.
Okay, you play as the dream sheep,
Yeah.
and you've got to clock in at the
Or
jumping over the fence factory.
yeah, or maybe it's like, are you maybe like anthropomorphized sheep in this, like Sean and his ilk?
Yeah, I think you are just like guys who are sheep, but then like your dreams sort of translate that into just being normal sheep or whatever, in a sort of inside out sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a game about dice stacking and throwing dice over the stack.
Messy.
It's a board game that sits in the corner of a board game cafe, and then whenever you pick it up, all of the staff groan.
Yeah, I feel this is maybe just some kind of like board or small dice maneuverability game or whatever. I'm swapping out whole for future. Future sheep.
What do they do? Do they dream of electric androids?
These are the electric sheep. Um, Actually, maybe there's something interesting, less about sheep and maybe about taking this more in a shepherd direction. You are. Oh, actually, me and my boyfriend once played a game of hounds where we were the hound, which is like a giant mech. We decided it was a sheepdog, which herded kaiju sheep because the government had put kai juice, which is juice that makes things kaijus,
Yeah.
into the water supply to get bigger sheep for meat reasons. So yeah, this is a game about like giant mutant sheep, and you are a shepherd.
Yeah, you're one of the mecha. Are you just a normal shepherd? Or have they enlisted shepherds into the military to pilot mechas?
Well, in that game, we were a shepherd who had a mech. This could be
Right.
something else, though. If you could, like, I feel maybe here you're maybe like a team who, maybe you're like a fucking Megazord mech together. Like, that's fun. Like, your individual mechs are just sheepdogs, and then you you
Yeah.
Megazord into the shepherd.
Yeah. And it's like, I want to say it's like a board-based game where you're trying to like herd them into specific places so that they can be captured by fences. It's sort of Into the Breach, but a board game.
That could work, yeah. I was now thinking of suggesting we lean more and more into Power Rangers. It's like you are protecting the sheep from wolf kaijus.
There we go.
Managed by yeah, also some evil rubber suited like
Rustlers.
villain. Yeah. Yeah, that's my pick. Yeah. Shepherd mech.
I think it's called
Dogzoid.
Sheepdogs, but like as an acronym.
Yeah.
Sheep-dogs.
I think that's probably right. What was your favorite of that chain of sequence
Of
from
them,
Unreal Teal?
I could see myself writing sheepdogs. Um, I think Nintendo City is the one that I'd most like to watch a video essay about.
Yeah, that could make sense. Yeah, I sheepdogs. I find the Changeling support group idea interesting,
Yeah.
but I also don't necessarily think I found any angle on that I'd want to do anything
It
with.
feels like it'd be more harmful to write than it would be beneficial.
Do you mean harmful to oneself?
Yeah, to the author and also possibly the reader. So
I'm not convinced that a game with a clunky metaphor could harm a reader, but I know I do get what you mean. I think it would be a lot of like trying to think of a game's message before you think of like the art of the game, which I don't think is a good direction to approach things for, at least for me. But yeah, and anyway, I'm technically on a game sabbatical at the moment, aside from doing this podcast. So thank you for listening to Game Soup. And
thank
you can
you.
follow me all on social media where I mostly won't be posting any game stuff because I might still. I'm on a sabbatical.
She's
Bye.
undecided. Bye. Thank you for listening.